Shade Studios here at the Sundance Film Festival 2025 here in Park City, Utah. Really ecstatic to be here at the premiere of Third Act. I've actually already pre-screened this film. It is by far in our top 5 picks of the best films we've seen, specifically in the documentary category. I cannot wait to talk about this project, to talk to each entity that was a part of making this incredible, inspiring documentary, which literally had me in tears. Tad, it is such a pleasure being here for the premiere of Third Act. I know you are both a director and producer / father in this documentary. This is probably one of our top 5 picks at Sundance this year. It was such a special film to watch. I would love to know, when was the moment that it just hit you that you had to make this?
I think, when my dad was starting to slow down, now that we know it was kind of early symptoms of Parkinson's, but at that time we didn't know. So, I worked with my dad for so much, and I could just tell little things. He was a little bit slower, had a little bit harder time talking. But at the same time, at that time he was in his mid-70s already. And I just kind of knew that this was something I always wanted to do. Didn't necessarily feel I was ever ready, but I think once I kind of felt that he was slowing down, kind of felt it had to be now or never.
And I mean, it's really cool to see your children actually growing up in this film as well. How long did it take over the entire process, time-wise, to make this?
The total time was 7 years. So it took a long time, and COVID was in the middle of that. But also, my daughter was born in the middle of production. So a lot of things happened in those 7 years. But I think mainly it was just such a emotional journey and hard that way that I think it kind of needed to take that long to make it right.
Prince was my indicator. As I was seeing him grow, I was like, okay, I think I know the timeline now based on Prince's hair growing.
Yes.
It really was getting long, and I loved it. I was like, wow, he's getting really hyped.
Yeah.
And I saw your sneakers collection. Are you a sneakerhead?
Yes, definitely.
We have a huge sneaker channel on YouTube, so we saw the Panda Dunks, and I was like, okay.
I think my dad's rocking the Air Max 90s in the whole film.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. I was like, he was definitely rocking the Air Max 90s. So as far as, this being something that's generational, it was so impactful to just see your family bond. What made you just really want to put the entirety of your family unit into this film? Because I know some people are very private and personable. They don't want to really open up their doors, to shed the light about what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think at first wanted to do just almost like a biopic on my dad, a portrait of the artist. And so instead of kind of film, interviewing his colleagues, other filmmakers, scholars, I think we wanted to just make it really intimate and just keep it within the family. Because I think for me, my dad, his career and his family and his community, they're all kind of intertwined. He doesn't compartmentalize those elements. So I think in order to truly tell his story about his career, it had to really come from his family. And
Manzanar is such a powerful place. It really shows through in this film. What emotions were you going through going there multiple times? I mean, this must have been difficult in so many different ways, and I know for your father as well. Yeah, I think for me, Manzanar has evolved. I think, when I was a kid, I definitely saw it as a place that, I knew my family was incarcerated there. But as I learned making this film, that my dad has this ambivalence about Manzanar. Of course, it's this terrible place that really caused, his childhood trauma. But at the same time, during the Asian American movement, that was the place where he really became empowered and became the artist and activist that he ended up being. So I think for me, Manzanar will always be will be my dad's place. And I think all the stories that he told me about there and all the experiences that I had with him at Manzanar, that place will always remind me of me and my dad. Wow. And as far as one of my favorite parts, actually, is when you take trips to Hawaii. Yeah. What is it? The Rainbow... Rainbow Drive-In. I have to go to the Rainbow Drive-In now. Tell me about the Rainbow Drive-In. What makes this food so special? I need to know. Yeah, I think... this is your dad's favorite spot. It's my dad's favorite place. He's willing to spread his ashes. One of my favorite lines in the documentary. I think my dad just, as much as an artist he is, his favorite thing to talk about is food. And so
especially at Rainbow Drive-In. He's just in general a big plate lunch fan. So at Rainbow Drive-In, there's you can get these plate lunches, and then there's an option to just pour gravy over everything.
So it's the gravy. That's the secret
Yeah,
sauce.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, note to self, when I go there, I'm pouring gravy on top of every item.
Yeah.
And as far as the AAPI community, I actually studied a lot of Asian American history while I was in college. I wrote a 27-page paper on Nisei daughter. It's really been impactful for my life. What do you hope this will bring to the community?
I think this film, hopefully people will kind of understand a little bit about my dad's career, the impact that he's had on Asian American media. But I do really I think we both wanted this film to bring something to the camp narrative. I think everyone knows that it was unjust and it was terrible. But I think, my dad really wanted to get across how not only camp, but racism in general can really destroy not only how you feel about yourself, but the way you feel about your family, the way you feel about what you can and can't do. But at the same time, my dad's life is an example of how to process that through art, and most importantly, through community.
He pushed through all those obstacles and boundaries and found success, which I love so much in this. And the other, I guess, last question I want to end with starts at the beginning of the film when you ask your dad, hey Dad, why are you filming this? And he says, to help your career.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear just anything that you have in the future planned, film-wise, that we can look forward to.
Yeah, well, I'm currently the director of the Watase Media Arts Center at the Japanese American National Museum, which is the media arts center that both my parents founded. So very much taking up the family shop, and we have a lot of short and long form films that. Right now, mainly producing, and so hopefully we'll get those off the ground. Basically, this film took so long that I've have a backlog of projects that need to get going.
Bad problem to have, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you're seasoned here at Sundance. We look forward to this premiere and looking forward to seeing you here
All right.
again.
Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it.
Hi, Prince. You're one of my favorite parts of this film.
Oh, thank you.
How old are you now?
I'm 8 years old.
And then do you remember how old you were when you first started filming?
About 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Do you remember exactly when you were 4 when they started putting the camera in front of you?
Not really.
No, not really. And how I learned how old you were getting is by your hair. Your hair was growing really long, and I love this length now.
Thank you.
Do you want to be a filmmaker like your dad one day?
Yes.
Yeah? What's your favorite part in the film?
My favorite part. Well, first of all, I didn't really watch all of it, but I watched some of it.
Did you watch yourself?
Yes.
Yes? Was that your favorite part, watching you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And my dad.
How was it going to Hawaii and taking all these fun trips?
Pretty fun.
Pretty fun. You had some great one-liners too.
Thank you.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, for breakfast?
Yeah, what's your favorite
I
breakfast?
would like on weekends I would have waffles and pancakes. But when I get used to it, I on the weekdays I kind of like having oatmeal.
You're healthy.
Yeah.
Oatmeal. What about lunch? You pizza?
Lunch.
Pizza or burgers?
On the weekdays I like having sandwiches. On Fridays I like having burgers and fries. And pizza also. And sushi.
Ooh.
And
Sushi?
ramen and udon.
Wow,
and
you're expensive.
sashimi.
You like really nice sashimi and sushi, huh?
Yes.
What's your favorite story with your grandfather do you have?
I like to hang out with him.
Yeah.
I sometimes talk to him.
Yeah. I know you're super special. What about your little sis? How's she doing? She your favorite? Or do you fight?
We fight sometimes and we talk sometimes about weird stuff. I don't know.
Weird stuff, so you're besties, kind of.
Not besties, but it's we have to talk.
You have to talk because you're related, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah? But I'm sure you're going to be the big brother to protect her as she gets older, right? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I think she could protect herself.
You think so?
Yeah.
She's stronger than you?
No way.
No? You overpower her?
Yeah.
100%?
Every time when we wrestle, like I knock her down.
You know, same thing happened with me and my brother growing up. Always wrestled me to the ground. But one day, you got to be careful. She might overpower you. Are you going to play sports like your dad?
Yes.
Football?
Maybe.
Maybe?
That's a maybe.
Okay, well, oh yeah, you like sneakers, huh? I
Yeah.
saw you. What's your favorite sneaker? You wear some Jordans.
Oh
and Nikes,
yeah,
huh?
I like for basketball. I really like wearing like threes.
Oh my god, you
for-
wear Air Jordan 3s
Yeah.
on the court? You crazy?
Sometimes, but like at school, I wear like Vans. But like when I don't have any Vans,
So you're a skater.
I like
Converse?
Jordan. Like I think it's called the Low.
Jordan
11s.
Jordan lows or like the dunks? Like Nike dunks?
No, not Nike Dunks.
No.
The
Oh,
11s.
low. Jordan 11 lows?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you have like any specific colorways you like?
No, I just like
Some cool
black
grays?
and white.
Oh, black and white. Okay, you're super hype. I love it. You keep the tradition of sneakers, okay?
Okay.
All right. Hope to see you in the next film.
Okay.
I'm here with Eurie Chung, who is the producer on Third Act. I bawled after watching this, by the way.
Thank you. I mean, thank you, but yeah, I understand.
It was so heartfelt. I also am a baby when it comes to crying. I pretty much cry all the time. But this was such a special documentary. What made you want to be a part of this project?
I was actually a student of Bob's back in 2002. I took his ethno-communications class at UCLA. It's how I met Tad. Tad was an undergrad, I was a grad student, and we became friends, and I took the class, and Tad actually kind of co-taught the class with Bob. And the reason why I am a documentary filmmaker is because of Bob. Like, the principles of, like, storytelling and, like, what stories do you value and, like, who do you want to elevate and what kind of stories do you want to share in the world, like, that all came from Bob. And I didn't know it at the time that I would become a filmmaker, but I don't know, yeah, the universe, kind of led in that direction.
Just
and
got
now,
chills, so
yeah,
crazy.
and so now I'm here, with Tad, who I've been friends with and worked on other films with him through the years, and it just seemed like, I don't know, like aligned, right, that we would be at Sundance 2025. with
I
this
would
film.
love to know, just being, from a student's perspective of being in Rob's class, like, what made his courses so special?
I think it's like, it was such like guerrilla filmmaking, like mini DVs, like it wasn't like a production class where it's like, oh, this is how you light someone's face. It was like, this is how you use natural light. This is how you use like not the best technology. Because if you can capture the emotion of someone's story and like their significance, like that is going to be more meaningful than like if you accidentally do something wrong, like in terms of production. But like he taught us to do the best that we could within like super like micro low budget constraints, because he was always like story, like more heart.
I honestly, anytime I see a film and I see that it's low budget and it looks like it costs almost like $200 million, there's something just so special about that. And I feel like it makes you work harder because you're on that budget and you have these restrictions. So you have to just really work extra hard because you want the film to be $1 million film, at least in appearance.
Creative problem solving, but like also just like, again, story, like it's like even in scripted, like that script, like that's the thing you can control. And so like, I don't know, it just was always like work on the interview questions, like get to the heart of the thing, like make sure like the issues, make sure that you care about the thing that you're filming, whether it's an issue doc or a personal doc.
And this is huge for the AAPI community. I know that there are a lot of underlying messages here, and it was so heartfelt because Rob, one of the points that really hit home for me was he was ashamed and embarrassed to be born a certain way. And I'm mixed. I'm also Filipino, and I had hardships growing up and feeling like I just never fit in. And I always asked my mom, how come I don't have blue eyes and blonde hair? Because the kids are teasing me at school. And you realize how it truly does make you stronger. And you can either be subjected to this and feel bad about it, or you can go past the obstacles and really make a difference for others who feel the same way. Do you hope this will impact the community in different ways, and if so, which ways?
I think there's like the history part, right, that like maybe people don't know about the incarceration of Japanese Americans in World War II, but I think that like just the profound trauma and impact of racism like should be clear in this film. I mean, not like it's not like hitting you over the head with
what I
it,
love
but
about
like it's so personal, right?
You showcase things so visually well that you don't need to like go into this historical preview of here's one text, here's a second text of like what's going on here.
It's like this is how it impacted this person, and like it transformed how he captured images. It transformed like what he wanted to pass along to his children and his grandchildren, and it's like he wanted to protect them and make sure that they didn't go through that kind of emotional like questioning of who they were. And like I hope that that is like that message is something you can carry with you. Yes,
it's
correct.
This very dry humor,
Yes.
but it really hit home. There was one story he was talking about where he was picking apples, I think, or something.
Oh, and
or
yeah,
pears
they
or
were
something.
like, you can't do that.
Because all of his friends booked
Yes.
it, left him by himself. So he's in the tree, and
Yes,
the guy comes over,
yes.
and he's like, hey, what are you doing over there? Like, I'm going to tell on you. And he's like, well, what are they going to do?
I'm already in
I'm already in the internment camp. Like, where else are you going to put me? You know, so I love kind of the humor that he adds to it, but it's also showing us like, oh my gosh, this is what life was like, you know, this is what he was going through, but also kind of talking about the camaraderie in the internment camps of like having that community and that respect for one another, and they were super close and super bonded through this.
The importance of community despite the circumstances that
Exactly.
community was created. And like I feel like in ethno-communications, Bob also created those communities, right? Creative filmmaker communities, Asian American people of color, and like gathering us together and giving us tools for storytelling. And that's just
One
it's
I
such
love,
a gift.
you are a prime example that showcases what he has done for the community, and you know you're gonna, I'm sure, inspire others to want to produce and direct and be a part of films in that same sense, paving the way for those who maybe didn't feel like they could fit in these moments. But you've made it to Sundance. How does it feel to be here?
It's very surreal. You never actually think you're gonna, get this moment, even though we were like, it feels like everything's aligned. Like Bob had a film at Sundance. Tad had his short film in Sundance, and like
Full circle.
I happened to be a doc fellow this year in the producers lab, so it just was like
Everything aligned perfectly.
yeah, it really aligned, and it was like shock, but like like this feels right, like it feels like like this was supposed to happen, and I'm super grateful for.
Well,
everything.
well deserved.
Yeah.
You earn your place and the right to be here. I mean, this is by far one of our favorite films that we've screened
thank you
at
so
the festival.
much. Thank you.
And I just really am excited to see the audience emotions
we are
as they
too.
watch it
We
with
are
you.
too.
I'm excited to also see future projects. I know that this is just the beginning
Yes.
to another full circle. I'm sure we'll see each other again.
Yes.
And I'm like, that time I interviewed you and you made it for one film and now it's been 3.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Marissa.
thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Here with Jess Snow. And Jess, I would love to just see why you decided to take on this project as the cinematographer.
I had already worked with Tad in the past on a documentary feature that he made called Nobuko Miyamoto, A Song in Movement, which was about the legacy of a Japanese American musician who had a lot of, who worked a lot around Black Asian solidarity, and we had a really wonderful collaboration for that film. So when he asked me to come on board for third act, especially to capture footage that represents the portal between reality and dreams, and it felt like a no-brainer to me, and I just like really trust him as a director, and this is such an important story for our community about just the many generations of his family, and I think and I just felt like an honor to be a part of such a story, because his family has such a legacy in Asian American activism and film.
Oh,
and,
I mean, it's so huge. And, the cinematography in this film is so well done. Specifically, Manzanar, that location is just so stunning, but also, has so much death and sadness to it. But the way that it's displayed, I mean, it really is almost like a character in this film. And every time we're taken back, I felt through watching it, I had different feelings throughout. Sometimes it was almost a happy revelation, and then it was almost like my mind was at peace to sadness. And I just would love to hear, how you decided to capture those scenic pieces.
Yeah, so there are multiple cinematographers on this film, but I was specifically brought on to capture kind of what Tad describes as a third realm in the film, which we shot at Manzanar, and it was a mixture of Super 8 footage and digital footage.
So
and
what was that camera he was using? It was crazy looking. It was like a film camera that Tad was carrying.
Yeah. So it's a Super 8 camera. It's called a Nizo 801, and it's like a vintage Super 8 camera, and I think there is footage of Prince also shooting on it, and
he's a natural already, right?